as well. Ukraine has struck Russia with the first long-range missile inside Russia, and I wonder if crude prices have inched up, and I wonder if equity markets have come off. So just pull up the equity markets if we can, the Nifty for a moment, and just see if there is any kind of a reaction. Yes, there is a bit of a pullback that has happened on the index as a result of this big news, and this is a developing story, of course, but this can have implications for sure. Crude prices also could be active. I wonder if that also would be something that the markets would focus on. Let's wait and watch. Vineet, does this have the potential to derail the fledgling up move that we are seeing today?
Absolutely. And, it's a very, very precarious situation because we don't know from here how things will play out.
Certainly, most certainly, we don't know. It's a bit of a bit of a change. I mean, Kush, how do you look at this pullback in the chart? So, if people were long, there is a fundamental news also. In fact, it also says from NDTV that Vladimir Putin has greenlit the use of nukes. This is not pleasant. We should try and we'll try and get some political experts as well. But just a quick trading view here, Kush. This gains that the market has given up, what do you make of it?
So, Neeraj, I think perhaps this is what was also showing up in some ways on the chart or on the option chain when we mentioned that 23,800 on the Nifty and 51,000 on the Bank Nifty were near-term resistances, and fresh trades at least on the Nifty Bank Nifty should be taken above 51,000. Perhaps some of it was in some sense showing up. With that kind of a development, you might want to hold on to any kind of fresh purchases. Also, we are back to that 200-day moving average 23,500 support zone. If that is breached, then you're looking at near-term lower levels as well. So any kind of fresh entry should perhaps now be held off up until at least the recent highs that were made, the highs that were made today are taken out.
Okay. Now this is important because I mean we haven't quite seen touchwood thus far. I mean, even before these attacks were supposed to happen, the Kremlin had mentioned that they could see a nuclear response to this, and if this were to happen, God forbid, then you do not know which direction can this go, and this can derail a lot of stuff very, very quickly. So I mean, as Vineet Pulinchkar mentioned, that this is something that is a situation that nobody quite has a clear answer to, but you can very easily say that this is something that could derail the market momentum. Keep in mind, our markets are shut tomorrow. A lot of world markets are not. So I would suspect there are a lot of people who might be inclined to have gone home with some long positions, might also be taking them off the table because it's probably the prudent thing to do. You don't want to go into a holiday not quite knowing how things will move up or move in the next 24 to 36 hours, and therefore that probably might be a prudent strategy to do. Vineet, this has the wherewithal to even bring about a spike in crude prices in some sense as well. So if you were, let's say, a tactical trader, Vineet, and you've seen the markets come off and you've gone long on select names which you believe could do well, but because they are trades, would you take them off the table now?
Absolutely, because we are in the midst of a correction, and now we are hitting back the 200 DMA. And if now the market closes below these levels, which we saw last, then there will be negativity sentiment also playing its own role. So I think we will see some substantial sell-offs happen.
Bring up Europe as well on the screen. I would suspect that the European markets which are on right now would also be in the red. This is precarious situation, and one only hopes that this doesn't really mushroom into something bigger, because independent of everything else, whatever side you may be in, this results in loss of lives, and you don't want that. So one just hopes that this is not as bad. It doesn't move into something that is really bad. We'll try and, of course, as we said, get voices as well. And just for benefit of the people who are listening into right now, the ATACMS, the acronym that he's seeing, are the Army Tactical Missile System. It's a supersonic tactical ballistic missile designed and manufactured by the US defense company Temco Watt, LTV, effectively. And now that this has been allowed, you know, in some sense, we know that there is a president-elect in Donald Trump. I'm sure he'll be on the platform X very, very shortly, giving out his views too. But for now, in the interim period, right, you know, one shudders to think, Harsh, what can possibly happen, and one only hopes and prays that the worst doesn't turn out to be true.
Yeah, absolutely, Neeraj. In fact, an escalation was already on the cards when over the weekend we did have Russia respond, suggesting that it's not favorable that US is providing military systems to Ukraine as part of this ongoing conflict, so that itself was a red flag. And now to add to it, you suddenly have a green lighting on broader use of nukes. That's not looking pretty. Mind you, we still have 2 months to go before Donald Trump steps in and takes control as president. Currently just president-elect. So there's plenty that could happen, Neeraj, in the interim. So clearly the risk looks large. But let's just want to quickly mark out the US futures as well. Not looking pretty, 0.5% down now. And oil, though, has remained tempered. It's still at the weekly low odd of $68.5 a barrel. There you go. So no real spike where crude is concerned. But we'll have our eye closely on that one, Neeraj, because those will be the key moving parts, how global markets will react and how crude will react.
Yeah, most certainly. Now, keep in mind, I mean, this multiple agencies mentioned that this decision follows arrival of North Korean troops apparently sent to help Russia in the war against Ukraine. It also comes after a wave of fresh attacks by Russia on Ukrainian cities over the weekend. So it's limited strikes, but the point being that it has the potency, as NDTV is saying, of Russia saying that there could be a broader use of nukes, and that is not good news at all. Alistair Newton should be with us.
It could also, in fact, bring in NATO into the picture.
Yeah, multiple things. I mean, it's a moving picture.
There's just so much that can happen, Neeraj. And not looking pretty, though, clearly. Indian markets also reacting. We're seeing
as they should.
A bit of a tempering.
Yeah, just pull up some of the stocks that have just come off in the last few minutes of trade, and you will probably see a clutch of those names which were active until recently, just coming off completely. Bring up the oil marketing companies, for example. They all should be reacting a little bit because the perception will be that crude prices will inch up, and therefore that bucket should certainly have seen some bit of pullback. So BPHP, I see sharp losses there. I wonder if Reliance, ONGC and the likes also are cracking under trade today. A lot of heavyweights would come off, and on this there is, I mean, it's just easy. You know, one hates trying to talk about this, but a lot of these stocks and Kush Bora in particular, Reliance Industries has been wobbly for a while now, and this brings that stock further lower. Now, what kind of downsides open up for this one or for some of the others, large caps, oil marketing companies, for example?
So I think Neeraj, all marketing companies, had shown some spark, and after that, all of that kind of fizzled out very soon. So I don't think those should be considered as the bottom fishing candidate. Perhaps actually, a shorting candidate is they could perhaps be shorting candidate. So something like an IOC can still be considered for targets of 128, perhaps even a 125, with a stop loss around the 136 mark. As far as Reliance Industries goes, this is a support zone where 120 to about 1220 to 1260. That's the range where the stock has taken support previously. If that is taken out, then I think the lower levels of 1160 sort of open up. It's getting closer to oversold territory. So if nothing else, there could be a tactical rebound kind of a trade on this as well. But again, don't go out and preempt these things, because from a daily perspective, the stock is at the low point of the day. From a weekly perspective, midweek, stock is at the low point on the back of fairly decent volumes. So I'll wait to see if 1220 is held on to. If not, then you're looking at 1160 kind of moves also on the downside. But that is where it approaches oversold territories and could see some rebound.
Okay, we'll have in Alistair Newton in moments from now. It'll be important to get his view on all of these things because he looks at this situation very, very closely, extremely closely, and therefore repercussions of what follows are important. Remember, but I do take on board what Vineet Bunchkar was saying, that some of these things are now just unpredictable. In technical terms, we are in uncharted territories because what happens here on, from a perspective of response from Russia as well, would actually assume a lot of significance. Volatility spiked up. Crude prices would have jumped up, even though we may not have it right now. But I think that is something that you got to certainly factor. I wonder if gold is also going up, and that is something that you got to keep an eye out for as well. So that is those are few things that that you got to keep in mind. Harsh, anything else?
No, not really. That's broadly how it is. Crypto also may come into focus on the back of everything that's happening, but at the moment, not seeing any movement there as well, Neeraj, in terms of alternative assets. Bond yields still continue to be around the 4.35 odd percent kind of number, the US 10-year. But broadly, that's how it's essentially playing out. Let's pull up the advanced decline if we can for just a couple of minutes, because at least on the Nifty 50 counters, there's been a sharp reversal. There you go. And the declines are now outsizing the advances on the Nifty 50, not yet on the NSE overall, but on the Nifty 50, there's been a sharp reversal. Let's also pull up contributories, just try to quickly get perspective on the Nifty. And you're seeing HDFC Bank hold up fairly well, but outside of that, you're seeing Reliance and SBI and L&T, all of which are under pressure. Neeraj.
Let's get